Hello, it's your financial friend Maggie. Welcome to the Inside Out Money Podcast. Hey, Erica.
Hi, Maggie. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I cannot believe we are already in something that's even close to talking about the holidays right now.
I believe it because I'm starting to see Halloween decorations. And once Halloween hits, those winter holidays sneak up real fast.
Yep. Yes.
So, yeah, it's here. It's coming.
There was Halloween stuff out in September, like mid-September in my neighborhood. I like to wait till October, but, to each their own. Okay, guys. Welcome to Inside Out Money. This is a personal finance podcast focused on redefining wealth from the inside out. Every week, I speak with a rotating set of co-hosts about a different financial topic, something to help you improve your financial mindset and tactics. Today, we have co-host Erica here, and we are going to talk about specifically 5 ways to reset holiday expectations. One of the questions I get the most from people is that they themselves have kind of changed their mindset around what they care about and wanting to be more intentional with not only their own money, but what they're receiving from others, particularly during the holidays. But they have trouble getting other people on board. And that other person could be their spouse, their kids, their extended family, their parents, aunts and uncles, all sorts of things. All sorts of layers, and it could be, a small group or a big group. I think we want to really get into some very specific tactical things you can do to reset holiday expectations a little bit with all those people and yourself also. And really just think about what you want to do. And I think it's worth reminding people, Erica, something that's important. Do you know what that is?
What is
I'm going to remind you too. You're an adult. I think we forget, even because we are our parents' kids, that we forget, if you're listening to this podcast, you are likely a grown-up. I'm going to let you define what a grown-up means. You're allowed to make decisions about what you want to do for the holidays and what's important to you and your family. You do not have to. You can if you want to, but you do not have to do what is important to other people. And you don't have to fall in line with their traditions. You might want to, and that's great if it's something that's important to you. But I just think it's worth empowering and reminding people that, you're an adult. The holidays can mean what you want them to mean to you. We do not have to go deeper and deeper into all of the commercial things that holidays have turned into. If we want to take back the holidays and make them back to what they were meant to be in the beginning, a lot of the holidays that we have now started a different way than they've ended up now.
I think what you're saying is that the commercialism wasn't so highlighted back in the day.
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting at? Is that what you're tiptoeing around?
That's exactly what I'm tiptoeing around.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right that, we are adults and we can make decisions that best benefit us, and fully recognizing that sometimes that's easier said than done, which is why we're going to kind of talk through different ways to reset and some of the conversation starters you can have with people, because it's not always easy to do it, but if it's one of your values, it's important for you. It's important for us.
So let's go through these 5 ways. And the first one is actually tied to values. So it's identifying your own core values first, right? I think you really want to start with we can use a play off the word inside out money, but you want to figure out, take the holidays, whatever you celebrate, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever it might be. Thanksgiving. I'm sure there's all sorts of traditions, you and your family have around things, but you want to look at them from the inside out, like we want to do with a lot of things. And you really want to start and ask yourself, what's important to you about these holidays? And if you've got your own family now and you've got, a partner and kids, or maybe you're on your own, we've all got some level from, nothing to tons of things of traditions and things that our parents have given us, and that, some things we loved, some things people loathe. And I think, you want to ask yourself, what are the things that are important to me now as an adult? And one way to do that is say, what are the 3 most important feelings or values that I want this holiday to embody? And I'm saying holiday as in the next 3 months, right? October, November, December. There's just so much going on. What do I want that to look like? And then actually really putting our time, money, etc. around those values, because I think having that foundation will make it much easier to cut in and out the activities and the spending and other things that do and don't align to what those are. So I came up with my 3 words, Erica.
Okay, tell me.
Mine are presence, but, like presence over presence. I'm going to just keep saying that and you'll never know, right? PRESENCE, right? To be present over physical presence. And so that's one of my big ones, but the word is just presence. I just want to clarify it's the PRESENCE spelling of that, and generosity and peace.
I like those.
Not to put you on the spot, but what are yours? They could be the same as mine if you want.
Yeah, no, I like yours. And a lot of them, I mean, yours does sound like the front of a holiday card, to be honest. So that's great.
Ooh, maybe I'll put it on my holiday card.
Yeah, there you go. So mine are very similar, presence over presence, being present, but being present in the memory making. So like not getting so tied up in like the commercialism and the overcommitments and just really focusing on how I'll be able to look back with fond memories of that. And in that, moving backwards, it's time together with meaningful experiences, creating those memories with my kids or friends and family. And then sort of like presence over, not like presence over presence, but quality over quantity, like I think in movies we see like 1 million presents under the tree. And it's like, what even is in those things?
Yeah.
And so, trying to really, what do we need? What do we want? What is unnecessary?
Yeah. I can think of times when I have actually spent time thinking about additional things that I could get my kids just to put more physical things under the tree. And like, that's not necessary, right? And even having a conversation with my kids to talk about why that's not necessary and how we're focusing on, quality over quantity and things like that. Okay, so let's shift to the conversations piece. So I think the second way that you can reset holiday expectations is to really tackle the gift-free conversation script. And we're going to give some like very specific scripts for this. But this is the idea of trying to redirect certain gift-giving practices that you don't love. Let me caveat it with that you don't like with other ideas. So if you love the gift-giving practices that currently exist within your family's traditions, you don't need to do anything here. But I hear from so many people that don't like it. They'll comment that their grandparents, this is the best example I get a lot. People's grandparents give their kids like all this crap and they're like, my kids don't need anything else. I actually would rather have money in my kids' college fund. There are a lot of people who aren't loving the current traditions within their family, and that the gift-giving practices have become very transactional, very excessive, very consumer-driven, and it's like everybody's just delivering a shopping list to somebody else in their family. And, everybody's got to get a gift for all these different people. And again, if you love that and that's working for you, I'm not talking to you, right? This is for all the people who have said they want to change up how they are celebrating their holidays, particularly with the gift-giving approach. And so some very specific scripts you could follow. You could go to one of your family members and say, this year we're shifting our focus because of a big financial goal we have, and we're not going to be giving out gifts to everybody in the extended family, right? Our gift is our gift is presence. We're going to be there at these family events and dinners and get-togethers, but we can't afford to get everybody in the extended family gifts this year, right? We have other financial goals in our life. And that's okay to say, right? I think that might come with like a little bit of vulnerability because it implies you've like you're failing at something at life, like you can't afford to get presents for everybody. But if you have some huge extended family and that's become the tradition, you can opt out of that, right? And you can say your why and say that you have other priorities in your life from a financial standpoint.
And you know what? I bet there is someone else in your family who's like, oh, thank goodness. I just didn't want to be the first one to say it.
I guarantee you're not alone. And then I think, another example script is you lean in with why this is important to you. So this is a specific script you could say. Hey, Mom. You like my hey, Mom?
Mm-hmm. Hey, Mom.
But like, this is important to me because my kids have too much stuff. They don't always like use or love the gifts that other people pick out for them. And right now they're really focused on saving for college. So this year we're asking if instead of giving them gifts, physical gifts, you would give them a financial gift of a donation to their college fund. And if you really still want to get them a physical gift, could you limit it to one thing and put the rest of what you would have spent on them into their college fund? Like, it would help us feel less stressed about how much we're saving for college. It would help the kids. They're really excited, and we're trying to get them to feel excited about savings for college. And it would just be a really great thing that is important to our family right now. And we would love for you to support that.
I love that idea. I think when kids get a ton of gifts, it just becomes like moving through the cycle of what's next. And with the one gift, there's a lot more gratitude and appreciation for like, oh my gosh, this is the thing that came from grandma.
Yeah.
So I love this, or if it's something that they really want, because they're probably not going to care as much about the college fund, but they also may not care about the gift in 6 months.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, a 4-year-old does not care about their college fund, but also a 4-year-old often doesn't remember what grandma got them when they were, especially like 2, 3, 4. And so you have these like different ages that kids are. And as they get older, in my experience, if you have the right financial conversations with your kids, they will start to care about their college fund because they realize that's something important that we all need to start putting money into and growing in it. And it's for their benefit. So another one too is, it doesn't have to be that you're trying to get your family to go from a massive amount of things to nothing. It could be that there's a tradition where everybody gets gifts every year and you're getting gifts for like 15 or 20 people. And you want to shift that and suggest that it turns into like a Secret Santa where you're getting, there's a $50, you could say, I love you. I love all the holiday traditions we have as a family. We have a budget and are really trying to stick to it. And I think many of my siblings do too. And I would love to suggest that we start doing a Secret Santa with a $50 limit. And I think it would actually be really fun and become a really fun family event and memory and a new tradition that we could start. And it would save us all a ton of money.
Yeah. I mean, and then you cut down on the amount of stuff that you have that someone probably bought like 15 of for everyone in your extended family or whatever. So
yeah.
If you're buying for everyone, like how much are you acquiring and spending? And that probably isn't in alignment with your values. So it cuts down 2 birds with 1 stone that way by doing the Secret Santa.
Yeah, totally. I was actually just having a conversation with my mom about her jewelry. She has a lot of jewelry that kind of like, not really heirloom stuff because it wasn't from her family, but it was stuff she collected and purchased throughout her lifetime. And she's kind of recognized like she doesn't need and want most of it. And she wants to give it to the kids, and they're kind of getting to the age where they can handle like nicer jewelry and not, lose it and take care of it. And so we were actually talking about it, and I was like, oh, you should just wrap up some of that stuff for the holidays. They know it's a hand-me-down, but like, or not a hand-me-down, but really it's like a heirloom piece of jewelry she's passing down to them. And so you could tell your parents like, look, you have things you want to start that eventually your kids or grandparents will inherit. Like, let's, make it fun and start wrapping that stuff up and slowly gifting it to them at different key holidays. And it could be really memorable to get some kind of really cool pieces from your family like that.
I really like that. And especially because like your kids are older, mine are older than probably many listeners, but like the kids likes start to change. So your kids being in their teens might appreciate jewelry and things like that, where that is more memorable. That's the receipt of that gift is part of the memory that goes along with the actual piece of jewelry.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is this gauche? Well, I'll just lay out the example. I'll start the question with, is this gauche? What if a kid wants a specific thing, like a gaming device or a phone or something that's kind of expensive, and instead of, trying to teach kids like this is a very expensive thing, you don't get this and a bunch of other things, is it like okay to ask people to contribute to that?
100%.
Okay.
I think 100%, and I've actually done this, but also this is where I think everybody has to exercise that muscle of talking about finances with their family and not feel like, I don't think people should feel bad in any way of saying, we've done this. Maddie wanted an iPad last year for Christmas. And we were like, cool, that's like expensive. And we, it was a combination of money from grandma and money from us. And so and we told Maddie that, right? So that's okay. And I think it's important for a kid to see, hey, this is something really expensive and it is outside of what we would typically spend or can afford to spend or however you want to position it. And then say, so, grandma's chipping in. You don't need to say exactly how much. You can just be like, oh, we're going to share the cost with grandma. And I think it's fair to go, like, we went to Greg's mom and said, hey, Maddie wants, because she's always like, what do the kids want? And we will be very specific about what the kids want. I mean, I think sometimes when family members ask, like, what do the kids want too, they don't always get a great answer from someone. And so I think part of it is on you of like, give them a good answer. And your answer might be they want money. They want spending money. They want to go to the mall and pick out clothes. And if you're not in town to help them do it, then give it to them and I'll take them to the mall or something. And so I really think part of this episode is to remind and empower people to have those conversations and not be afraid to broach the topic themselves. And not be, to your question of like, is it gauche, of like, don't be afraid to speak your mind. And you're not going to hurt. If that hurts someone's feelings, I think that's on them, right? If you say it respectfully and kindly and you suggest an alternative, I think it is then on, someone else to respond to that. And there's nothing wrong with you setting more intentional core values about what you want your holiday to be about, and then starting to have some real conversations with family about it.
Okay, so all of what you're saying, like empowering people to have these conversations, this is a great way to segue into the next topic around this, which is setting boundaries, which a lot of what we in this financial space try to do is like set boundaries with our spending and be clear in how we are with other people so that there are no surprises there. And it's huge for the holidays, for your money, but also for your time. All of this can be draining. You're setting your limits on your time, you're hosting, you're traveling. Often people will be going to like 4 houses on one day. And if you love it, great. That sounds exhausting to me. Like the idea of having to get out of my pajamas on Christmas is just like draining in itself. And, everyone has different needs. But maybe you've been doing this because this is something you've always done. And think about that. Is this what you want to be doing, or is this what you've always done? Because the more drained you are with your time, the more you're probably draining your bank account to adhere to things like buying things to bring, hosting gifts, things like that all kind of take it out of your bank account.
Yeah. And I think the idea is like your bank account and like your spending, and you put boundaries on that, put boundaries on your time during the holidays, right? So to treat your time and energy as a finite financial resource, treat it the same way you would treat your financial resources, and set limits on overcommitting. And I mean, I know people who have just a significant amount of anxiety and dreading going into the holidays because there is so many expectations on them and so many different things they need to attend and be at. And, it can even get worse when you have a blended family because, if you're grown-up kids in a blended family or younger kids, people want you in multiple places. And I will go on the record now saying I will not be an adult guilting my kids into like, you have to be here Christmas morning. Like, I don't care if it's better for you to come 3 days after Christmas and you want to, have our Christmas traditions then. Like, that's great. I don't want to be like jockeying for, who gets to spend Christmas this year. And I think people they have their own sense of like what's important to them and their traditions, and they put so much pressure on other people sometimes. And again, this is back to like, you're an adult. Another adult might unfortunately be putting too much pressure on you, but you need to set the boundaries. You need to set limits on your time, on whether you want to host, whether you don't want to host. There's always, people that fall on either end of that. And whether you want to travel. I remember having conversations with you, Erica, I feel like, about traveling over the holidays. And, sometimes there's certain family members that expect you to come to them every year. And sometimes you're like, I don't want to travel. It's exhausting to travel, right? And I don't want to have to schlep all my kids. And there's one of you. Why don't you? You're welcome to come visit us.
Yeah, and like depending on where your family lives, it is very expensive to travel at that time of the year. It's just you're going to hit more delays and you're just going to deal with frustrations. Like, so this is what the holidays is about. But going back to what you said around, guilting your kids or whomever, I heard something the other day that really resonated with me and that is very applicable here. Don't let guilt trips make decisions for you.
Yeah. I like that, Erica.
Yeah.
Don't stop it. Don't
Quit
do
it. Y'all quit.
Yeah, stop. No. Say no.
Quit it.
Just say no.
Just shut it down.
Okay. No, I'm going to shut down this topic. You ready? Okay. Number 4, social media cleanse, right? A huge thing that is influencing how we spend our holidays is the constant comparison from social media, the emotional spending triggers we get. And, that comparison is a huge driver of overspending and making emotional decisions that aren't in line with, what our rational selves want us to do, and might be pushing us towards much more elaborate travel, decorations, having to have like matching outfits, which again, if that's your thing and you can afford it, like go for it. And that's what you love doing. But I think the idea is don't do it because you see other people doing it on social media. And so a really good time to consider a bit of a social media pause, to whatever extent makes sense for you, is around the holidays, right? So commit that you are going to not spend as much time on social media, or perhaps get completely off it for a while leading into the holidays. And that will help eliminate some of the external pressure and kind of refocus you on what you want to focus on and the intentions you set out, like when we talked about, kind of the 3 words or the core values at the very beginning of this. I think another thing you can do too is like unsubscribe from stuff. I get so many marketing emails that I'm like, how did I end up on this? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I bought socks from this company and now they email me every day about socks. I don't need any more socks. I bought new socks. I'm good for like 3 more years. And so turn off the marketing emails, right? Hit unsubscribe now. When the catalogs come in the mail, I heard something the other day about processing mail, and it was like, don't even let the junk mail in your house. Like, when I walk in from the mailbox, I walk pretty close to my recycle bin and my trash can that are outside. And that stuff doesn't even need to come in the house. Like, get rid of it right as it's arriving. Unsubscribe from the stuff that you can. Just try to get away from all of these influences.
Yeah.
And social media and email are big ones.
Yeah, we talk about unsubscribing all the time. And this is not the same as social media, but similar vein. Avoid walking into the box stores where winter holidays, like all the gear, merch, decor is front and center.
Yeah.
Starting like any day now.
Already happened. I feel like there's already Christmas stuff in Sam's.
I'm sure there is. And then I'm like, oh, what new inflatables do I need?
Yeah. I was really proud of myself because I don't need any more Halloween decor. I have a, light to medium amount of outdoor holiday decor, which I do like, but I just don't need more. If anything, I could get rid of some. But I was in Target the other day and they have these like, those kind of like LED lights that you could put in your front window, and they're always cute and they always sell out very quickly. And I had seen it, well before Halloween. So I was like, oh, I'm early. This time I'm going to get one. And I bought it. It was like $40 and it said boo or something. I don't know. And it sat like on my dining room floor for like 2 weeks. And then I was like, oh, it's time to decorate for Halloween now. And I was like, you know what? I'm not as excited about this when I bought it. I took it back to Target. I hadn't even opened it yet.
Interesting. Okay.
And I was just like, I don't need this. And Liz and I talked about this in the returns episode, but like, it's never too late to return stuff. So even if you have made these, mistakes might not be the word, but for me, yeah, I had a regret about it. I was like, I don't need this. I'm going to go return it.
Yeah.
And it felt
that's good.
really good.
Good for you.
Oh, and then also, Erica, I have been incorporating your you don't buy things from Instagram rule.
Ooh, good.
Putting that rule on myself is like, I'll click through on something and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm Maggie. I don't buy things from Instagram ads.
Love it.
And so if I'm still, if I'm thinking about it weeks later and I want to go Google it and find it, that is a workaround to the Instagram ad rule. But most of the time, I'm never thinking about it later. So
nice.
I like it. Okay. Maybe you want to put that rule on yourself of like, I don't buy things from social media during the holidays.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good one because their return policies are probably very bad.
Yeah.
You just don't necessarily know that you're getting a quality product, and the temptation's there. It's just an easy way to reduce the temptation.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, the final thing of our list of 5 ways to reset holiday expectations is the best one, because the idea is you've now done these 4 things and you've saved money. So this is turning your savings into some sort of a celebration. So you could call it your follow-through fund, you can call it whatever you want, but it's the idea of calculate up the money that you saved by implementing your own boundaries, by having those conversations with family, by, not traveling on some, trip that you didn't really want to go on. Figure out how much you saved and put it into a specific fund that is designated towards some future financial goal you have. So I know in my Wealthfront account, I can create like as many sub accounts as I want and move. They're kind of like little, parent-child accounts. That's actually how we keep our kids' savings accounts also. But I can make one that says my, holiday savings fund, my follow-through fund, whatever I want. And I think it helps to really see your decisions and actions in a dollar amount and see, okay, well, I convinced my family to move to a Secret Santa approach, and I think that saved us $300. And so move $300 to that account and like track and follow this stuff and make that savings turn into some other positive outcome so that it doesn't feel like a sacrifice. I think it's a very important reframe and way to help inspire those same decisions next year. And not just during the holidays, but, throughout the whole year. But I do think the holidays is a time when we need this more than others.
Yeah. So you could also call this your guilt-free fund, which ties in with, not allowing guilt trips to make decisions for you. And that is all saying you're setting your boundaries, you're setting expectations around what your values are with your friends and your family. And hopefully they'll respect that and be on board with you for this. And, that creates some ease at the holidays when it feels a little crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope this helps you guys remember and feel empowered to create your own boundaries. Like, again, going back through these, identify your core values, use some of the scripts we suggested to have to redirect more gift-giving practices into things that don't cost as much money and are a bit more budget-friendly and as gift-free as you want to get. Really focus on setting boundaries. Think about how you're using social media and allowing, marketing and consumerism to get to you during the holidays. And then tally up those savings so that this is about a positive outcome and not a sacrifice. You think
isn't
about
it funny
positive
that
incomes?
but isn't that funny that an income is like totally separate than the outcome?
Than an outcome, I agree.
Yeah. But yes, that's great. All right. Well, thanks for listening. We know
thanks
your
for
time.
listening, Erica. Oh, I thought you were saying that to me, Erica.
Thanks for listening, Maggie. This was a really great session for me. I know time is limited, and we know time is limited and valuable, and we appreciate you spending some of it with us. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please give us a written review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We truly appreciate it.
It's a really good present that you can give us that's really just your presence of writing a review. It's really hard to say those two words and have people know what you mean, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Also, if you have any thoughts or questions, we always love to hear from you, and you can leave us a voicemail or text us at 404-981-3370, or you can hit us up on Instagram. Thanks, Erica.
Thanks, Maggie.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.